remember that IOU? Well, I kind of want to go ahead and redeem it, and I've come up with a fantastic plan. And well, thanks also to you guys in the comments, I have decided a way to, well, kind of redeem something that I really wanted to technically redeem with JoJo, but I guess I'll have to do it with Foxy instead. Now, I've already got my book and quill written out, and here are the terms of this IOU. Now, it may catch you a little bit off guard, but I was thinking the other day I was feeling kind of down, I was feeling kind of low, and I was like, you know what I could really use? I could really use a pick-me-up from someone on the server, like just someone to chat with, to hang out with. And so I was like, oh, that would be actually a perfect IOU right here. Chosen's Kindness IOU Redemption. Join Chosen for a chat, offer good vibes, joke, story, or a listening ear, and then stay for at least one Minecraft sunset of a length of about 10 minutes. And I was like, this could be perfect. Like, I think this is going to be great. Like, this would not only make me feel better, but it wouldn't also ruin their day either, finding out that they are, well, would have to make some sort of crazy farm or mine something out or do something that they probably expected to do. Hello?
Hello there. How can I help, sir?
Okay, I've got the IOU ready. Yeah, since you took over the ownership of it, I mean, I've devised a fantastic IOU. And
Yeah.
you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it. And I know you have no idea. You have no idea what it is. So
No.
there it is. It's a quick read.
Okay. Chosen's Kindness IOU Redemption. Join Chosen for a chat. Offer good vibes, joke a story, or listening ears. Stay for at least one Minecraft sub 10 minutes. Yeah, no problem. Let me just get Foxy No Tail for you. Have you got a lead?
What do you mean? A lead?
Well, yeah,
What
Foxy
is
No Tail
this?
is the you know, the person that has signed all of the IOUs. So here he is.
What?
And he's ready to take on the IOU.
What?
He's rearing to go.
I've been bamboozled. What do you mean?
Well, can you see the difference in our gamer tags, Chosen?
Oh my goodness.
Who would like to check your IOU or think you'll find it's from this horse?
Well,
Here you go,
I
horse.
guess.
Here's a book with instructions. Good luck. Have a nice time. Tell lots of jokes. I'm sure you'll be good at that.
Well, I guess I'll have to make do, won't I? All right. Well, I guess this is fine. I mean, I'm sure Foxy No Tail will provide me a lot of insightful knowledge and company.
I think he might, but Chosen, right? Obviously not right now, but I'd quite like to do that as well at some point. I think that'd be nice.
Oh, okay. Maybe. Yeah.
Ideally not while I'm rendering.
Yeah. Get that all wrapped up, and then you should be good. You should be good.
And once you've finished with him, can you please return him to his pen, because he's got quite a lot of work to do.
So much work. This poor fella. All right. Well, I guess this works. I really hope nobody. Well, yeah. I guess I don't know. He would be pretty good at hauling blocks, probably. All right. Anyways, yeah. I'll be back. I'll take him with me, and we'll go watch the sunset together. That'll be kind of nice.
Lovely. All right.
Good
Cheers,
on your
bud.
rendering.
Yeah. Thanks. See you later, Foxy.
Well, I think I found the perfect spot for you, my friend. I mean, we could just chill out right over here. I think that'd be a perfect spot. You could just chill and then I'll chill, and then we'll just watch the sunset and we'll just have a chat. Well, Foxy, the sun is starting to set. I mean, I guess we could start talking. I mean, do you ever feel like, I mean, everyone else has a purpose? I mean, but you're just trotting through life? Anyways, I stopped trusting chickens. I mean, I know I joke a lot. I just wanted someone to listen. You get that, don't you? I mean, do you think horses dream? I mean, I got to thinking, what is a saddle really? It's just social pressure, right? Sometimes I just think the server's a simulation, and then I eat a baked potato, and then I'm just fine. Hey, now, between you and me, I mean, if you ever get offered a trade by a wandering trader, I mean, just say no. Just trust me. Oh man, never date a llama. Long story, man. You know, if you do see a creeper, I mean, just don't reason with it. Yeah, I learned the hard way. Man, the stars do look awfully pixelated, don't they? You been busy lately? I mean, you seem really tense. You got big plans this weekend, or are you just gonna be standing around? I know the cake is a lie. Cheer the truth, Foxy. Hey, now, don't tell anyone, but I think the villagers are planning something. You know what this world needs? You know what? More horses in politics, really. Yeah, I think that's the play. And I tell you what, strong legs. Respect. I know what, if I was a horse, I would be jealous. Yes, I would. You know what? You were right to forgive them. You know what? I never thought of it that way. Foxy, it's a good point. Oh my goodness, that was a good one. That was a good one. That was so good. That was awesome. I mean, you really cheered me up there. You know what? The others laughed when I said a horse could cheer me up, but I mean, look at us now. Man, you know what? Now that I'm back home, I already kind of miss him. I really do. I miss the company. But we have some big projects that I want to work on today. Like, I'm not kidding when I say big, because today we are going to be starting our first actual automation process. Right. So I want to be able to do Frogports. I want to be able to manage all of that stuff. But to be able to do that, I am going to need power. And I'm hoping that I can potentially buy power from Beardy over there. There's a good chance that I could buy power, but Beardy's a little bit busy right now. So until then, I guess we can start laying out the foundation and formatting things. Now, where are we actually going to set this whole factory up that is going to utilize all of the Frogports and all of the cool automation gizmos and gadgets? Well, that place where we place that one tough. Yes, this whole area was cleared out so that way I could build a dynamic automation build here. And this is going to be kind of odd because what I really want to do is I want to start off with some sort of storage, a centralized storage location that is generating cobblestone. And then I want to have a storage for storing and housing all of the products generated from said cobblestone generator, or at least that's how I want it to ultimately start. But to fully get this up and running, it is going to require a lot of materials. So I was thinking, we can just, bring this along with us. I'll save that for later. And yeah, we should be able to just place this down up here and get to work. And a little bit of boop and this, and there we go. Our truck has now been moved. So now after gathering some andesite, which I want the main floor, I think, to be mostly andesite. And I kind of want to wrap it around. Now I'm kind of figuring out what direction do I want my building facing. So I could have it facing this direction. I could have it facing this direction, or I could have it facing this direction and this direction both. Like kind of having it like facing this way. That's possible too. And much like the power station over here, we could have ourselves a nice courtyard that encompasses this whole area. However, I've kind of thought about how I could set up item vaults and use a centralized storage with that said item vault setup. And so I guess without further ado, since I've already placed the first block down, let's turn on the shuffle mod, which it's literally just called shuffle mod for those of you who have been wondering what this mod is called. And let's just go ahead and first get our basic foundation in place. Now let's go ahead and get our first vaults placed in. I'm just going to go ahead and outline this entire vault like so, and place it on the scaffolding. Also turn off the shuffle mod. There's one bad thing about the shuffle mod. You forget that it's on, you start randomly placing blocks all over the place. But yes, I like to place it up on some scaffolding. I think it makes this whole thing look really, really nice. And we'll just do this like so. Does make it a little bit harder to like get up and down, but this is actually going to house the cobblestone farm. But this is a maxed out 9x9 vault right here. And it will allow us to put a bunch of drills on top, harvesting cobblestone. I mean, basically harvesting tons of cobblestone, because it'll be 18 cobblestone per operation being broken. And when this is at max speed, I mean, that's going to be really chugging. So the cobblestone farm itself is going to work very similar to the other one that we've set up. However, I'm going to have chutes that run all along here. The cobblestone is going to go directly on top of this to be generated. And we're going to have water that is going to be basically flowing down the center, where the lava is going to be on the outside flowing in. So simply like this, let's just assume that it has already generated the cobblestone. That's going to go right here. All of the drills placed in facing this direction, and that way we can power it easily from the top as well. Now on the back side, what I want to do is right here on the chutes, this is where the lava is going to reside. Now the center point, what I want to do is place in some trapdoors. So a simple place here and here, infinite water, just running right on along. Now to power all of the drills, that's where I'm going to use encased chain drives. Those are going to be placed just like so. Oh yeah, we also got to worry about water freezing, because we are in a biome where it does freeze. Then to connect everything together, we're going to have a connection point, which can go right here for now. Later on, we can figure out where this is all going to go. But this, to me, is a finished cobblestone generator. Well, we got to put the lava in. So now technically step 1 is almost done. Cobblestone generator is now being put together. And outside of this, we just have to hopefully get some power. Beardy's been, well, really cooking over there. Now, thankfully from my clay farm, we have a lot of the chain conveyors. Like I have a ton of these now that I thankfully did not have to craft, because it can be a little bit of a pain to actually craft them, considering they cost 4 casings each. It's very, very nice, but I think I definitely well compensated for them with all of the clay and all of the other materials that were in there. But anyways, that's besides the point. What we need to do now is we need to get the chain conveyors somewhat set up. And so I have a couple of plans for this. I could use girders to hoist them up. I do want them in the air though. So some girders would be kind of nice if I have them placed, for example, right here. And we have that raised up. I still though am trying to figure out like what I want to do here. Like I also might want shafts to be placed there, but 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm thinking maybe have them right about here, like 1 level above the vault, because unfortunately the Frogports cannot interact with these chain conveyors if they are below it. So for example, if I had a Frogport that was 1 up on this, I don't think that it can actually touch. I think it can interact if it's on the same level, but if the Frogport is actually 1 level above the chain, it can't actually pull items in or out of it. I don't know why. Maybe they can't send their tongue downward. I really don't understand that, but that is a limitation of this whole setup. So something we have to keep in mind. So going up 1, 2, 3, 4 feels like a good standard. That way these end up being 5 tall in total, just like so. And these are going to go here and also in all of the other places. And I tell you what, the more that I use all of these chain conveyors, the more I realize how actually powerful these chain conveyors are. The fact that they can transfer items from one location to another, and not just items, they can transfer stress units. And you can actually limit these down to not using any stress whatsoever, but still carrying the actual amount of stress. So lowering the RPM all the way down to basically 1, and then still carrying all of your stress and being able to carry this long distances, considering these can branch up to, I believe like 32 blocks or something like that. I mean, honestly, this is a big game changer for how you move stress around throughout the Create mod. Something I will note, they do use 256 stress units whenever they are running at the max speed. But I will say, once you have a steam boiler, just even one like regular level 9 steam boiler, which is pretty easy to set up, you really aren't going to worry about those 256 at all. That is going to be kind of moot in the whole grand scheme of things, when it's the same as one water wheel, one small water wheel that can just power the thing running at max speed. So now let's talk about how I want to go about automating this. Now, we are going to be using a combination of chests and barrels to limit inputs and outputs. And we are also going to be using the new gauge system from Create and package system to send these items, doing requests, and also auto crafting as well. So some things that I am going to end up needing is going to be stock links, some factory gauges, which by the way, they do cost a precision mechanism to make 2 of these bad boys. Very, very expensive, but these factory gauges are absolutely amazing. A few packagers for our Frogports. And of course, speaking of Frogports, there we are, packaged Frogports. Now the Frogports in here are a little bit different, a little bit changed. We can select the position that we want the Frogport to be in on the chain, for example, right there. But the range in this pack has been changed. This is not the default that I am familiar with. This can actually reach really, really far out, whereas normally they do not. So bear that in mind. I am going to be building within the constraints, I do believe. That's why I actually placed this here originally, because I thought these Frogports weren't going to be able to go this far, or go this far down, actually. Yeah, it looks like it's maybe set to like a range of like 16 or something like that. It is quite far, but I just wanted to mention that. But once we have it defined, you can see it can go down, but the tongue cannot go down to the chain. The tongue can only go up to the chain. But once we place it in, you can then label these Frogports. This is where things get a little bit more complicated, but I did want to mention you can also smack this on here. Yeah, you can use the engineer's goggles. And I think this could actually have a use. Besides decoration, I'm thinking that we have the input or the input back into the system or the mains. We can put the goggles on the mains. And I think that'd be a good way to identify those visually without having any sort of naming system on them, even though they do display the name that is assigned on them on top of them, just like that when you're looking at them. Oh, and by the way, those names are incredibly important, as this is how the package network is going to know what is connected to it. Think of this chain as being a pipe, and that pipe is looking for an address at all times. And when you connect something and tell it to send to that address, well, the cable here, aka the chain, is then going to be looking for that address to send it to. If it doesn't have a place to send it, it will just simply stay on the chain and continue circling forever until it then has another thing that was added to the network that is labeled as that package. This is all going to show itself momentarily. So for example, let's go ahead and place down a barrel right here, and let's get our first crushing system set up. Now, currently I am running into an issue. I won't be able to really show this until this whole thing is essentially up and running. So I'm thinking I'm going to place in some windmills temporarily as I wait for Mr. Beardstone to fully send me some of that power from that beautiful power factory over there. I would really like some of that, but yeah, I guess I'm going to add more of these windmills right here. I mean, they are kind of modular. You just place them in and they're ready to go. Now, with all the logistics in place, the stress units to be able to, well, run some of this stuff, we now get to play around with the fun stuff, which is the Frogports. So the way that the Frogports are going to function is as such. I need to take the cobblestone out of here and we need to send it first into this barrel. Now, once this barrel is backed up, we don't want to continue sending packages on here. So that way we don't flood the packages, let's do this in a request form factor. So let's go ahead and place our packager right here. And we need to make sure this is defined as a network with the stock link. So with the stock link and it defined, this is now a network that is readable from other things. For example, the factory gauge. The factory gauge can read the contents of this inventory, and we can actually tell it to keep a certain amount in some other location's stock. That is a really, really powerful use case. Now, we are going to need a Frogport on here, but I don't think this Frogport is necessarily going to need to be named. I do want it linked on this chain because this is the chain that is actually going to carry it. So it actually has to do less work by bringing it over here. Otherwise, if you put it over here, you'd have to wrap around here and then it would send it along. Or it might actually take it here and then wrap it around. I don't know. I kind of want to keep this as easy for this as possible. Perfect. So now that that is in place, let's use some scaffold to get up here. And we just want to place the Frogport on top. Perfect. So this is actually going to be set to send packages. We don't even have to name this Frogport. We just set it to only send packages, and it's only going to send package when this stock link tells it to do so. This is where I was originally confused because I thought there was more you had to do, but no, this is as simple as it gets. So now with that defined, let's go ahead and click on here. This is its own network, and we are going to tune the network to the factory gauge. Over here is where we are going to set up another packager. Everything is handled via packagers. So this is going to go onto the back of this, and on this packager, what I'm going to be able to define is this factory gauge. So let's go ahead and on the back, I think what I'll do is I'll place the factory gauge for now. And then in here, we want to keep cobblestone in stock. Perfect. Cobblestone. And we'll define that. Now that we have the item defined, this is where things get a little bit more interesting, right? Because we need to request cobblestone from this network and make sure it goes into this inventory. And if you right click, you can see we can like set values here, stacks, for example, to keep in stock. Now I know that there's 27 item stack slots in here, makes it really easy to just simply define 27. But before we define it, we have to tell it where to send items, and that is where another Frogport is going to come into play. So right on this, oh, let me actually click on here, not there. Right on this spot right here, so directly in line with this, I'm going to click on this. I'm going to get that linked up. It's honestly pretty dangerous, me jumping on the cogwheels, but place the Frogport right here. So I will call this one Cobble. Or if I do Cobble and then underscore CA, just to define, since we are playing on a server, it'll make it a little easier for me and everyone else to know whose network this is. Everything will be suffixed with a CA at the end of it. So this is Cobble, and Cobble actually needs to be defined on this as well. So if I just click here and click Cobble, should pull up the most recent one. We can go ahead and click that, and then we set our amount. So remember, 27 stacks is how many this can hold. And once this recognizes and ticks, you can see it will send that frog. And look at this. It is going to try its best to keep this inventory filled if at all possible. This right here, this setup is going to prevent overflow. And we do not want our chains to be overflowed because I believe these can only hold like 30 packages per chain line, per chain network. So consider like a loop right here, a package network. And it's honestly wild when all the packages do build up, but this will prevent it from building up. And I really, really love this method right here. So this is going to fill up. And what it's going to do now is it's going to just fill this with cobblestone. And this is going to be a new network for us. I know this is where things get kind of cool, right? Brand new network for us. What we're going to have to do here is place a packager on this. And this will also link up to our chains, but this packager is going to have a stock link on it. And the stock link is going to allow us to read the contents of this inventory and send this gravel to other locations. For example, we can send that gravel directly into another crushing wheel setup, just like this one. Now, something I do want to mention, as we've not gotten too deep into this, is that packages also have shiny variants, if you didn't actually know. There is a chance for one of these packages that does get placed out to be a special variant. And right here is the list of all of them. These are all rare package variants. You can see right here, ones with goggles. There's a creeper one, all kinds of different packages. There's even a little star. I have no idea if that's like a reference. I'm not sure. The Patrick star. It's got a little pink and a little yellow one here. Oh, it looks like a little all the mods not. I doubt it though. I have no idea what all of these represent, but they are really, really cool. And yeah, that's even like a raccoon, I think. Just very neat. Now, the next setup is going to be handling 3 different products. And I know that we have handled this in our other farm, but this is going to be a little bit different. Now, I want to prevent the items from hanging here. So I'm going to place a trapdoor, and this position right here is going to actually play a pretty important role, because what I want to use is a mechanical arm to interact with this belt location, right? So I want it to essentially pick up items, and I want it to send it to some chests. So right here is actually going to be where my chests are going to be residing. So let's place all of these just like this. This is going to house the things that the sand or the gravel is going to produce. So sand, flint, it's also going to produce some clay. So all of these items are going to get stored in this chest. And the way I'm going to define those items for the mechanical arm and give it a position to place to is with a brass funnel. And the brass funnel is just going to simply be labeled. And this is a pretty cool way of filtering. We need to make sure these are set to the insertion mode, just like that. And yeah, we just need to tell it, hey, this is where sand's going to go, flint and gravel, for example. Goodness, I know I said flint and gravel. I meant clay. Oh my goodness. But I mean, the order of this really doesn't matter too much. I kind of like to place it in the order that I know things are going to be generated the fastest. But yes, just like this. And so with those items defined, we can set our take from location, and then we can actually have multiple send to locations on our mechanical arm. And I'll place the mechanical arm right there. And this is going to be more than fine, but there is still some more logistics I want to set up for this, because each of these items I kind of want to be able to void. So to be able to do that, we are going to need some threshold switches and, well, some more funnels. See, when these chests fill up, I want to make sure that it doesn't stop the production over here. So to make sure that it doesn't stop the production, we want to make sure that we are voiding off some of these products if they do happen to overflow. So the best way to do that is with a threshold switch, and we want to invert the signal, set it to max stacks, and then take it to as high as it can go. So long as it's powered on when it is at or below 53, we'll make sure that the connected hopper or brass funnel is locked in its locked mode. And whenever this actually does have that amount in it, what it's going to do is then unlock the hopper. It's going to send the item in and immediately shut it back off. And where's it going to send it to? Well, a row of lava underneath here. And there we go. Okay, so now we have to set up and define these locations. So just like we did on the other one, we are going to need another packager that is going to go on here. But now we're going to be reading from this actual stock link with our factory gauge. And yes, we could just send it directly over, but that defeats the purpose. I still want to be able to access this gravel and use it for other autocrafts down the line. So we want to make sure that it doesn't build up anywhere else, and we're just keeping this nice and simple. So we are going to link the factory gauge onto this, and we're going to tell it, hey, go ahead and send that gravel like this into this location. And then we need to, of course, place the Frogport on here again. And this Frogport, we're probably going to call it gravel. And actually, to keep this in line with everything else and how I have been defining it, we'll make sure to place this input in the back here, and we'll make it set up the exact same way as that one. And again, this one will be gravel underscore CA to define it as mine. And then back on the face again, let's go ahead and redo this factory gauge. Click on here. Place the factory gauge. Gravel is what we're defining in here, and then we'll set it to gravel CA. That's going to keep it in stock. We know we need 27 because that's how many that can hold. And once we have that requested, this will then try to send. But remember, we don't have a Frogport on here, so we actually have to place in that Frogport again. Let's go ahead and define this. This one is also going to be a send only, exactly like our cobble system. And that Frogport will go directly on top here. If I can, there we go, get it in there. And then make sure to set it to send only on the packages. Doesn't have to be named on that one. Then with the chain drive, we can give this whole setup some power. That's going to start sending those items. Now for this, what I'm going to want, because the rotation actually doesn't matter, is I can kind of, I think, get by with using, well, actually, no, we can still use a chain drive. That's right, because chain drives can be rotated upwards like this, and a single cog will get this whole thing up and rolling. Or should I say up and crushing? I can't believe right after I said that, a creeper blew up right beside me. Man, I hate creepers. Yeah, the creeper situation is 100% why we need buildings. I do not want this blowing up near a Frogport network. That's awful. But with this, we should be able to now place this in, and the arm is going to get to work, and it is actually placing it inside of the inventories, and it does it pretty well, pretty quick. Not a big deal at all, honestly. Now, at this point, we've been doing keep in stock Frogports. That's essentially what these are. They are a way of regulating the amount of items inside of an inventory. But when we go over here, things are going to get a little bit different, because now we have some ingredients and we need to start processing those ingredients and then sending them into a network main, a main system of sorts. So just like all of the others, we will use these as the centralized storage for these items. We are not going to be taking them and sending them over here. This is another way to also regulate the items. All of these frogs are going to be set to send, essentially. So let's make sure that we have this defined. That one's on there. Make sure it's sending packages. You do want to make sure you define them or name them. Otherwise, these Frogports will just pick up unnamed packages if you happen to send any, and that could really break a setup. So something to kind of note and keep in mind. Then, because these are their own network, we are going to make sure to place some stock links on here, and these will be used later on when we actually get to the auto crafting setup. Now I'm about to add in another section here. This is actually going to be for processing. So yeah, we're going to have another setup just like we have in our base, that is going to be a spot where we can go ahead and cook. We can blast. We can do all of those ingredients, and it's all going to be places that we can send things for the Frogports with automation, and it's just going to go there and work out. I'm pretty excited about that too. Hello, Mr. Latestone.
Look, okay, I've been busy. I've had a couple of problems I've needed to sort out. Okay, to ensure that you have flawless power, I decided to use Foxy as a test subject, and I'll tell you what. After the last couple of days, you're going to be glad I did.
Oh my goodness. Well, I will be happy. I'll be happy then. I set up temporary power right now just to.
Yeah, I noticed. I saw it from over there where I've been creating a big flat area for, well, you know, all the station goodness and all that stuff. And I saw this on the hill and I thought, well, can't be having that.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot going on right now.
So yeah, you need some real power going on over here.
I do. Barely even touch this thing.
Does appear that way. That means you need power nice and quickly.
Yeah. Soon, okay. Definitely soon. Yeah, that'll be nice.
Right. I'll tell you what. Do you want to come with me over to the power station briefly, and I will show you the machine and how it works.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I should be able to get it installed in the next sort of hour or two. I'm about to have dinner, so
okay.
You know.
Yeah, that's fine.
Classic contractor delays. But yeah, come meet me at the station, power station. I'll show you how it works.
Okay. Oh, I'm excited for this.
But quite simply, you'll have one of these in your base, and all you need to do to get power, all you'll need to do is put those into that chute there.
Ooh.
And that's to show that there is tokens in the chute. And the first time you load one up, normally you would need to press the button to actually activate it. But this one's on a 10-second timer instead of a 1-hour timer. So this one actually comes on quite quickly. So if it ever goes out, you just need to load it up with tokens, press the button, and it will gradually use these tokens. And each token lasts an hour.
Okay.
Currently.
Oh, that's nice.
So each token will give you an hour of electricity. And you can literally store a whole barrel's worth in there. So you can stock it up with about 3 weeks worth of electricity at a time.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Which is good.
Yeah, it'd be
and
real
that's basically all it is. And this here, it will show you how much is being used and how much is still available.
That is
so there's currently
fancy.
590,000 available.
That is fancy.
And these are your connections.
Okay.
Yep. That'll be a no-go area for Mr. ChosenArchitect. Yep. And this is where you can connect. So you can connect either chains on the side here, or you've got a spinny bit, and you can do what you want. And the flywheel is just to show you that you've definitely got power going in.
Perfect. Oh, I like this.
So so that's basically it.
Snazzy.
Follow me. Okay. Follow me. Let's go see Jimmy.
Ooh.
Yep. Jimmy's got a job now. And this is Jimmy. He will sell you a stack. He will sell you a stack of power tokens for 1 diamond. So that's 2.5 days power, basically, for a diamond.
Oh, that's cheap.
That is nice, cheap, affordable power that is sometimes on and working, always on and working. But yeah, customization option, color. You can choose any color of pillar block you like. There's a small sample over there of the different colors that are available. But you need to let me know, 1, where you want it, and 2, what color you would like it to blend in with your builds. So any of the pillar blocks are available.
Huh. I think granite. I like the granite. That looks really nice.
It fits quite nice, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
If we go with the bricks. So
I'll do a lovely granite one then. Last thing I need to know is where you want it installed, because I don't just want to dump it in the middle of your base.
I think I had an idea, like connected to the side of the train crafting depot. Yeah, I know. Lots of
Yeah, lots of and I mean, it would fit down there perfectly, behind the
you
meat
think?
shack.
Oh yeah, we could do it over here, or
like even just next to the building down here.
Yeah, I think that'd be fine.
Because there's a big enough space here for a nice little shipping container.
That'd fit perfect.
Yeah? Or do you want me to put it in the wall? So
no, this is fine. This is fine. There's nothing under here or anything. I'm pretty sure there's nothing under there.
If I was to put it here, then the power would come out this side. So you're probably not going to want the chain drives, just a shaft, right? Because you're not going to be able to connect a chain drive from here to anywhere, really. Yeah.
I'll just use a shaft, I think.
So I'll stick a shaft. Okay, I'll give you some additional shaft outputs so that you have options on numerous sides. I'll put one in the roof for you.
Oh, that'd be fantastic. And then I'll just run it into the chain network. That'll be great.
Perfect. And I'm sure it'll work perfectly fine.
It will. Oh, yes. For right now, we are going to be living off of windmills, but here in the future, by next episode, we'll be tapped in and we'll have power that we can pay for. Oh, this is actually going to be great. It's not going to be a problem at all. And I can't wait to actually have some sort of awesome power, which is coming from Beardy's like literal factory. There's like 3 steam generators in there, if not more at this point. It's going to be great. Because honestly, windmills, as much as I love them, they're great aesthetic, but for power, it just takes a lot to set these up. I know I've already set them up, but yeah, I'd be better off just taking these and maybe selling them to peeps. Now back to the storage. Now we're hooking up the fans, and this is our first sort of processing thing that is going to be taking place, even though there are going to be things that are constantly running. For example, making iron nuggets is going to be a thing that's constantly running and is going to be stored inside of our system. Now we need a main in and a main out. These are going to need to be defined, and our stock links are going to work a little bit different. Main in does not need a stock link. However, it does need a frog. This one is going to need a stock link. So I'll place a stock link on here for right now. This is going to be the main out. And this is actually where we're going to define our recipes that are going to be read via these factory gauges. Now, for this one, we just simply need a Frogport that needs to be labeled as such. So we need to place, I love how I keep placing that above my head. We need to place the Frogport connected to this chain right here. And yeah, we can just simply place it right there. Perfect. And this one, like I said, needs to have a specific address to it. So we'll call it main underscore in underscore CA. So this is main input. So anything that gets processed, we want to actually send it to this Frogport that is going to be addressed to main. And thankfully, our sending frog over here, it doesn't really need a name or anything fancy. We just want to make sure this is send only. And yeah, we just leave that as such. Now back here, I have created a multi-stage processing array, if you can call it that. The goal for this, by the way, is to be able to send requested things up top onto these Frogports. Now, these are going to be addressed as such. So we can go ahead and start defining our specific Frogports. For example, this Frogport is going to go on here, and it's going to be addressed to blasting. So blasting underscore CA. And this is going to be the blasting address that we can use to send certain things into this particular frog to then immediately be sent into the barrel to be dropped down and immediately be blasted. So now we have blasting, smoking, washing, and haunting all defined. And whenever we make our recipe on the board, which we'll be getting into here in a second, we can choose these addresses to make sure to send certain recipes to. Now, the idea here is to send everything into main. And this is where, like I said, things will get a little bit more complicated. But when we actually give these a redstone signal, they will automatically take all of the contents of the actual barrel here and try to send that into the packager. Then the packager, if it has a Frogport in it, will send it to a location. Now, you can define that package's location manually by placing a sign on the packager. So, for example, I can say I want to label this main underscore in underscore CA as this is the input location for all of our inputs. This is going to be something that I'm going to be putting on a lot of packagers because that is this frog's name, main in ChosenArchitect. And so with that defined, anything that goes into this package, anything that goes into this barrel, when it has a redstone signal, will then be auto packaged up with the label main in CA. And then that will end up being thrown onto the cable. And then it is actually looking for that Frogport. And once that Frogport finds a package with its name on it, it will then grab it and store it. And that's exactly what we want to do. And we want that to be done to all of these. And what you're seeing here is the premise and the construction of essentially these autocrafting modules. Now, as I was setting this up, I was like, you know what? I could probably save myself some space here too, because these chests do count as 2 inventories. So since we're automatically sending this anyways, we could technically use fewer of the actual packagers. They're all still going to send to the same location. So we'll have this one and this one. And then we just need to make sure to place our Frogports on. and we can send the Frogport location back up onto this chain. And since we're sending, this is probably where I want to send it, definitely to the back. And just like all of our other send frogs, make sure it is set to send packages only. And remember, with these output frogs, I did want to, on output frogs specifically, I wanted to make sure to put goggles on them. I guess I should call them send frogs. Now, before I start actually setting up the autocrafting, I want to make sure that I can easily access the inventory that I am going to be linking everything to. And you may recognize how this is going to work, as it is the same system that I am actually using over here. And I think this is by far one of the easiest methods for accessing your contents inside of these storages. And it really fits perfect on the backside, but you can put this thing anywhere on this. So let's recap and redefine. The top, by the way, is going to be where we go to store items. So we need to pull the items out of that inventory, giving this a redstone signal. I actually don't have a lever on me. 1 second. Just like that. Perfect. That will pull the contents automatically out of this inventory. And then we just want to send it back in with this packager. That way we can control the items that are going in. To pull the items out, this is where we're going to connect up to the top. And then on here, we'll have a stock link that can read the inventory. And then the items that we want will then be put in a package. And then we want to unpackage them into the barrel down below. We want to connect up our stock ticker to be able to read the contents of the vault, which is behind us. And then we need a entity to access it, and we can use our blaze burner. And now we can see all of the items inside. Beautiful. This is access. We have an auto input, we have an output essentially, and we have access to being able to modify the contents of the main storage. I have a feeling for me, this is going to be a pretty common theme anytime I play with this create mod from this point moving forward. I really don't know if this process right here could get any easier when it comes to accessing a vault. And so now is the moment of truth. Now that we have these basic materials already being processed, so we have ourself gravel, we have sand, we also have clay, and we have flint, and all of that stuff that comes from cobblestone, we can now start to automatically break down those components even further by utilizing our factory gauges to allow our packagers that we just set up to actually start sending packages to things. For example, if we want to turn sand automatically into glass, well, we can do that by blasting it. We can also take our gravel automatically, and we can start sending that to be turned into iron. And we can define the specific amount that we want to keep inside of our stock. So this is where things get really powerful. So we know where our gravel's at, and we have our own stock link on it. This entire inventory is the gravel. So we can link this factory gauge to this stock link right here. And then we'll come over here and we'll go ahead and just place this on a wall. You can place this honestly anywhere. It can go on the floor, on any kind of block, but it just needs to be placed in. And then we need to say gravel, because we need to look specifically for the item. I think even an item list might work in here. But now it reads off that we have 3,456 gravel to mess with, which is now contained in that chest. But this is where things get a lot more interesting, because we can use this in other recipes as a location and use that location as a way to send that as an ingredient. So essentially we're defining it as an ingredient, and then we can choose where we want to send that ingredient. So how are we going to do this? Well, remember, we have access to the main. I need to link this to the main, and let's go ahead and start with iron nuggets, for example, because this would be one of the weirder things to have linked up. So this right here is iron, and it does come at a percentage. So what we're going to want to do is do iron nuggets when it gets washed. So iron, if I can spell, there we go, iron nuggets. We'll bring that over and we'll define that. Okay, so right now it's looking in the main and seeing, hey, do I have iron nuggets in the main? Well, if not, after I set a value, it can then request a craft or a promise, I think is what it's called. But the way that we do this is we need to define a connection here. So we want to send this into here, and we right click, add a connection, and then we're going to set a source for that connection. And you can see right here, it says active, no target amount set, because we don't have a target amount set, nor do we have a thing to tell it where to send these items to. Now, with this recipe, it is a little bit more complicated because we do have to scroll here to set a value that is going to be generally the amount that we're going to get. And it's about a 12% chance of actually getting an iron nugget. So sending 9 gravel is about enough to get 1. But if I do this, it's going to be kind of a slow operation, really. But if I go ahead and multiply these numbers, we can actually send that amount to this as well. So we can take these and we can multiply them by different factors. I mean, I think a pretty decent one is by multiplying it by 6. You'll end up getting 54, and 54 should grant us about 6 or so. Now, with this being a percentage, this is where the actual promise expire is a good idea. We want it to probably expire after 30 seconds or so, just to make sure we don't end up with empty, unfulfilled promises building up. We want it to kind of void it. And it may, in this case, actually oversend. Now, we have to choose where we want it to send to. So for this, we want it to actually go to washing. So washing _CA should be the location defined. Now, it didn't pull up in my list, but that is what I called our washing station frog over here. So you have washing. So washing CA, you just want to make sure that this actually matches. And double checking, making sure that applies. This should be able to request gravel to be sent to be washed, and then it will automatically be outputted and sent into the main. We just need to define here how many stacks of iron nuggets do we actually want to keep in here. And I think a stack, like 9 stacks of iron nuggets, is a good idea. And once it is done, you can see it has now started, and we've actually started to request a autocraft. And that should mean that over here, we should start to see some washing actually happening. You can see the gravel is being tossed in, and it should be going into this container, in which the packager, once it does receive the product, after it's done washing, this frog should kick off. It might take a moment. If I even put the filter in right. I hope I put the filter in right. That would be a little bit of a problem, wouldn't it? I mean, it looks like it's... Oh, nope, these are all turned wrong. Yeah, here you go. So yeah, I just got to flip these around. As soon as I do that, all of the items are going to go in, and then the Frogport's going to start sending. Nice. All right, so that, I believe, has worked and is successful there. So let's check. And there we go. We already have nuggets building up. Now, in this case, we are generating a bit of flint inside of this storage. And out of all the things that we are going to generate, if it has a byproduct, we probably want to get rid of it a little bit, getting rid of as much of it as possible. And to do that, we're going to void it the same way that we were voiding all of these. So yes, I am going to also hook up another threshold switch. This one is going to go underneath this item vault in the middle here, and this is going to control the flint that is going to ultimately build up in this. This is the only thing that we're going to have to really get rid of. Now, cool part about threshold switches is we should be able to define specifically what this is actually looking for. So on the bottom here, we can say specifically look at flint inside of the system and nothing else. And we can go ahead and define some information about this. So now that we're producing iron, there's a couple of other things that we want to define. Remember, these are also other inventories and other stocks. So we want to go ahead and keep that in mind. So for example, sand. Let's go ahead and place this on the board as a stock location. So right now we have gravel. I think over here, I'm going to place sand because there's a lot of things that sand can be processed into. And then we'll just grab sand and make sure to drag that in here. And you'll see that number update. There we go. And then I got to do the same thing for clay, which is also on here, and even flint, because this is the flint that we're going to be using for other recipes. So just like before, we can do the same thing over here for glass. Now that I have sand linked up, like, I mean, this is just where things start to get really fun, and all of the things that can be automated, we can. So we need to define specifically, I want glass, and then we say, well, what makes glass? Well, we link it to this up here, right? And then we need to define, this needs to go into blasting. I still don't know why it doesn't show up in my list here, but it is blasting and _CA. So blasting _CA. is the location that we want to send this. And to make this faster, right, we can make it a stack at a time. So always do a process of a stack. And then we can also limit its process timeout if we want, just to make sure it doesn't cancel out on us. And then we just set it to like 9 stacks, for example, right? And we want 9 stacks, so we know where the sand is going to go, and it is going to perform its craft. And the next thing we know, this is going to start building up. Like, we should see sand over there. It is being blasted. Everything is working. Oh, it is just fantastic watching all of this happen. And I think if I take a look here, look at that. Glass is starting to build up. We can do this for everything too. Clay, we want to turn it into bricks. Now, there's several other modules that we're going to work on in the future, but as of right now, this is our very, very basic ones, because we can actually take this even further, right? We can take the sand. We can haunt the sand into soul sand. We can use the main inventory's connection to then take that haunted soul sand, wash it, and then we have all kinds of stuff. Here's a lot of the things that we can actually fully automate with this process. We can make blackstone. We can have flint, we can have clay, iron, andesite can be processed here with a little bit of lava. Once we have lava automated, we should be able to automate tuff. I think this is an add-on recipe. And then we have andesite alloy can be automated here. Netherrack, which I think is also an add-on recipe. This is not normal. Soul sand, nether quartz, we can get gold nuggets. I'm about to do bricks. Terracotta can be made where we can have it turned into all kinds of different stuff. That terracotta can be crushed and turned into red sand. Red sand can be turned into granite and also more gold. So there's a lot of things. And once we have gold, I mean, that's golden apples. I mean, golden apples are so powerful.
Power.
Oh, is it done?
I think so.
Oh, that's fantastic.
So, I've done everything apart from test it, because I thought it'd be more fun if I got you just to throw these tokens in there, press the button and hope for the best.
Okay.
But it should work. The power's hooked up. I've been checking the power station throughout to make sure that even though it's not loaded, it's still producing power, and it is doing what it's supposed to be doing now.
Okay.
So if you come around this side,
I'll just put
load up your tokens.
Put them in the bin.
Yep, and press the button to start it. Wait a second.
Oop.
Something's spinning.
There it goes. It looks like it's working.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
Although your readout isn't working. There we go. That should work now.
Oh, there we go. The top's not working though.
This is what I get for not testing it. But the important thing is you've got power. You've got connections on the back. You've got them on the both sides and 2 on the top. So you can use them however you wish.
Oh, perfect. They're up here.
There we go. You can obviously dye the bottom bit green if you have any green dye. I forgot to bring mine with me. But apart from that, we're all good. The power is there. There's 580,000 currently available to the grid, but the grid will expand over time as required.
Okay. Yeah, that'll work perfect.
Is the general plan.
Perfect. Oh, this is going to be great. Yeah, I'll be able to tap it all in now and actually be able to get presses. Yeah, that's great. Great.
Yep.
Thank you. I'll definitely be buying the tokens.
Excellent. And if I have put that stack is the welcome gift, by the way.
Okay.
The first 2.5 days are free as a welcome bonus.
Yeah, thank you for the power. And, this is fantastic. Oh, now I can.
You sound genuinely happy.
I am, because
that's what we like. That's what we like.
I don't want more windmills.
Happy customers.
Saves me time.
Yeah, you can remove your windmills. You can get your space back.
Yes, that is going to be perfect. I'll take it. Thank you. Thank you for the power. I mean, there's a reason IRL we pay for power. Now we have access to some power. I am going to take my tokens out before they get all used up, but these power tokens are going to be very, very nice. It's going to go in here. I'll place them in when we need some stress units, and we'll be able to use the power there. And we have this nice shipping container, and I'm assuming we can customize it and make it look differently, like around the outside and stuff. But yeah, for right now, this is actually kind of perfect, so we're able to monitor everything. And just to make it look a little bit nicer, there we go. Nice green dye there. Now, right before Beardy ended up popping back on and getting us the power that we need up and running, I did go ahead and define this factory gauge, which is producing the quartz. So it's very similar to the iron in how it functions. It does produce a byproduct of golden nuggets, but I don't think golden nuggets are going to be an issue to keep in stock. That is actually something I want. But we now have this going, and a quick tip, if you want to go ahead and link a factory gauge without going over here and clicking the network, you can use the pre-existing network. So if I had another ingredient that was going to come from the quartz here, I would right click this and notice it knows that this is connected to the main network after doing that, and then I place another gauge, this is going to still use that main network over here. You know what? I think today was pretty good progress. You can see everything behind me we now have automated. There's going to be even more automated from this very, very soon. And then I've got to ultimately design the factory that is going to go here. Disregard the windmills. Those will not be staying. But yeah, this is going to be the ultimate facility that is going to be processing cobblestone down into all base components, allowing me to have everything needed to build, to craft, to really do anything. I mean, I even want to have andesite casings and everything just all automated here. That way I can walk up. You could call this a mall of sorts. That's exactly what I'm making. I am making a create mall. And so given enough time, we will have the ability to literally craft just about anything, especially whenever I get my crafting modules in, because yes, you can use these frogs and you can automate directly into mechanical crafters by giving it the recipes and items needed. It is pretty darn cool. And I am super duper excited to be able to get to set this up and actually start using it. So guys, if you did enjoy today's episode, be sure to click that subscribe button if you haven't already, especially if you learned something new about this new create update and how to use Frogports and how to use all of the factory gauges and gizmos. I hope you did enjoy. Be sure to also join the Discord. If you haven't already, both of them are linked down in the description below. You can pop on over there, join the Just Create SMP, where you can join the discussion about this particular server or this mod pack entirely. And also join my Discord, where we do have a thriving community over there of modded Minecraft enthusiasts alike. So definitely check that out. And speaking of my Discord, I do want to thank the amazing supporter of today's episode. And that amazing thanks is going to go out to Oren. Thank you so much for your amazing support and choosing to support me over on the Discord by becoming a Discord premium member and supporting me in one of the best ways possible. And guys, I thank you so very much. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Also, trust the process. And as always, thanks for watching.